Behind Britain's polished palaces, luxury estates, and glittering skylines lies a story of wealth that refuses to fade. Some of these billionaires were born into centuries of aristocracy, inheriting lands that anchor London's most expensive districts. Others fought their way from modest beginnings, building empires in steel, fashion, telecoms, and chemicals, before carefully shaping them into dynasties designed to last for generations. From inventors who changed the way we live, to dukes whose families have ruled the same streets since the 1600s, these names reveal how power in the United Kingdom is built, preserved, and passed on. Today, we count down the top 10 old money billionaires in Britain, not just to see their fortunes, but to uncover the legacies, lifestyles, and enduring influence that make their wealth more than money. This is the story of power that lasts. In the number 10 position, we have Sir James Dyson, the man who turned an everyday object into a multi-billion-dollar empire. Think about it. When most people looked at a vacuum cleaner, they saw a boring household chore. Dyson saw an opportunity to rewrite the rules of engineering. After thousands of prototypes, endless failures, and years of rejection from manufacturers who laughed at his bagless design, he finally broke through. What started as one man's obsession with airflow transformed into Dyson Limited, a company now valued at billions and selling products across the globe. But what makes Dyson's story fit into the world of old money is not just the wealth he built, but how he's anchored it for the future. He owns estates sprawling across the English countryside, including Doddington Park, a historic Georgian mansion. His wealth isn't just about gadgets, it's about legacy. Dyson has poured millions into innovation hubs, schools, and even ambitious projects like electric cars and advanced robotics. He's built a brand that stands for design, quality, and prestige, qualities that give his fortune the weight of permanence. Unlike lottery winners or overnight tech moguls, Dyson represents the kind of billionaire who creates wealth with the intention of it lasting for generations. His children are now key players in the business, and the Dyson name is moving into that elite circle of dynasties whose money will echo through Britain's future. From vacuum cleaners to electric dreams, Sir James Dyson shows that old money doesn't always come from ancient castles. Sometimes it's built in the garage of an inventor who refuses to quit. In the number 9 position, we have Sir Richard Branson, a man who turned a record shop in London into one of the most recognizable empires in the world. Branson's story begins with Virgin Records in the 1970s, signing rebellious artists like the Sex Pistols when no one else dared. That boldness became his trademark. From music, he leapt into airlines with Virgin Atlantic, challenging giants like British Airways, and later expanded into trains, health clubs, banking, and even space travel with Virgin Galactic. His fortune, valued in the billions, is not tied to a single company, but an entire ecosystem of businesses wearing the Virgin name. But wealth alone isn't what makes Branson stand out. It's the lifestyle. He embodies the playboy billionaire archetype, flying in hot air balloons across oceans, kite surfing with Hollywood celebrities, and holding court on Necker Island, his private Caribbean paradise. Yet beneath the image of a thrill seeker is a businessman who has quietly transitioned into old money territory. Branson has passed leadership roles to the next generation, structured his companies for long-term continuity, and anchored his fortune in luxury real estate, renewable energy projects, and a vision for the future. What makes Branson fascinating is how he blurred the line between new money and old money. He started as a rule-breaking entrepreneur, but now his empire sits alongside the legacies of Britain's most enduring fortunes. His wealth is built not just on cash, but on brand power, assets, and dynastic planning. The Virgin name has become more than a company, it's a heritage. For Branson, luxury isn't about possessions. It's about building a life so extraordinary that it becomes impossible to separate the man from the empire he created. In the number 8 position, we have Alisher Usmanov, a billionaire whose fortune is as vast as it is complex. Originally from Uzbekistan, Usmanov built his empire through metals, mining, and telecommunications, rising from modest beginnings to become one of the most powerful figures in the UK billionaire circle. His breakthrough came with Metallo Invest, a metals and mining giant that positioned him among the richest men in the world. Over the years, he expanded his reach into technology and media, including an early stake in Facebook and ownership of Russia's largest internet company. Romanov's link to the UK goes far beyond business. For years, he was a major shareholder in Arsenal Football Club, becoming a central figure in the world of Premier League billionaires. His wealth flows into sprawling London mansions, country estates, and a collection of yachts and art that rival royal treasuries. He is the kind of billionaire who collects not only assets, but symbols of power, things that announce his presence long before he steps into a room. What makes Usmanov fascinating in the old money conversation is how his fortune has aged into stability and permanence. While his beginnings were defined by aggressive deals in Russia, his current standing reflects a carefully diversified legacy: art foundations, luxury estates, and generational wealth planning. His vast philanthropic contributions, particularly in sports and cultural institutions, have cemented his influence. Despite controversies and shifting political winds, Usmanov embodies the billionaire who transcends borders. In Britain, his name has become synonymous with deep pockets, luxury living, and a fortune built to last. For Usmanov, wealth is not just numbers on paper. It's a legacy that will echo for decades through the estates, art, and institutions tied to his empire. In the number 7 position we have Sir Leonard Blavatnik, a billionaire whose name may not always make headlines, but whose empire stretches across industries you interact with every single day. Born in Ukraine and raised in the Soviet Union, Blavatnik came to the West with vision, ambition, and a knack for spotting opportunities others overlook. His rise began with investments in energy and natural resources, but he truly cemented his fortune by creating Access Industries, a global conglomerate with interests in everything from chemicals to real estate. What sets Blavatnik apart is his grip on entertainment. As the owner of Warner Music Group, he controls one of the biggest powerhouses in the global music industry. Every time a chart-topping artist releases a hit under Warner, part of that success adds to his fortune. This crossover between traditional industries and modern pop culture gives him an unusual mix of influence, not just in boardrooms, but in shaping the music and media we consume daily. Blavatnik's fortune, estimated at over £30 billion, is anchored in more than just business. He owns luxury properties across London, New York, and Miami, as well as a portfolio of art that rivals some museums. His philanthropic reach is equally striking. From Oxford University to leading medical research, his donations have carved his name into the history of British education and science. What makes Blavatnik part of the old money narrative is the way he has transitioned from ambitious outsider to dynastic insider. His fortune has been carefully structured to endure, with his family and institutions already playing key roles in its continuation. In Britain, his legacy is not simply about wealth. It's about how seamlessly he has woven himself into the cultural, educational, and economic fabric of society. For Blavatnik, money is more than power. It is permanence. In the number 6 position we have David and Simon Rubin, two brothers who rose from humble beginnings to become some of the most powerful billionaires in Britain. Born in India and raised in London, their journey started far away from luxury. David began trading scrap metals while Simon moved into carpets and property, but it was in the 1990s that the brothers struck gold, literally and figuratively, by investing in Russian aluminum and copper, markets others considered too risky. That gamble transformed them into billionaires almost overnight. Today, the Rubin brothers are best known not for metals, but for their sprawling property empire. Through Rubin Brothers, their private investment firm, they control vast pieces of London's skyline, luxury hotels, and developments that quietly shape the way the city evolves. From Mayfair to Knightsbridge, their fingerprints are everywhere. Owning prestigious addresses isn't just business for them. It's about cementing a legacy in one of the most competitive property markets in the world. Their fortune also reaches far beyond real estate. The brothers have significant stakes in racetracks, airports, and even tech ventures, giving their empire a global reach. And like true dynastic billionaires, they've passed much of the responsibility to the next generation, with their children already managing parts of the family business. What makes the Rubens part of Britain's old money circle is how they've shifted from risk-taking traders to institutional landlords. They're not just making deals anymore. They're building permanence. Their estates, their hotels, and their influence over London's future ensure their wealth won't fade with time. The Reuben brothers may have started with little, but today they sit comfortably alongside the aristocratic dynasties of Britain, proving that old money can sometimes be forged in the heat of bold risks and relentless ambition. In the number 5 position, we have Lakshmi Mittal, the steel tycoon whose empire reshaped global industry and placed his family among the most powerful in Britain. Born in India, Mittal started in his father's steel business, but quickly branched out, spotting opportunities in struggling factories others ignored. Through a series of daring acquisitions, he built ArcelorMittal, the world's largest steel producer, turning failing mills into a juggernaut that fuels everything from skyscrapers to bridges across the globe. But Mittal's fortune is not just about steel, it's about stature. His London residence, Kensington Palace Gardens, is famously nicknamed the Taj Mahal, one of the most expensive private homes in the city, valued at over £100 million. Inside, chandeliers sparkle above marble halls, while outside, the estate is surrounded by embassies and royalty. Owning such a property doesn't just display wealth, it declares permanence, a seat at the table of Britain's elite. Mittal's wealth also extends into sports and philanthropy. He once invested heavily in Queen's Park Rangers Football Club, and his family foundation supports education, healthcare, and cultural projects worldwide. His daughter's wedding in 2004 remains one of the most extravagant in history, costing over £50 million. A reminder that his empire isn't just financial, but cultural, shaping how luxury itself is defined. What makes Lakshmi Mittal a figure of old money is how he has transitioned from self-made magnate to established dynasty. His children hold senior roles in his businesses, ensuring the Middle Empire will continue well into the future. He represents the blend of entrepreneurial daring and generational planning that defines enduring wealth. For Mittal, steel wasn't just an industry. It was the foundation of a legacy that now stands unshakable in the heart of Britain's billionaire class. In the number 4 position, we have Sir Philip Green, once hailed as the king of the British High Street. Green built his empire through the Arcadia Group, which at its height controlled fashion giants like Topshop, Burton, and Dorothy Perkins. At a time when Britain's shopping streets defined style for millions, Green was the man pulling the strings, turning affordable fashion into a multi-billion-pound business. His bold deals and sharp instincts helped him accumulate enormous wealth, while his personality, flashy, outspoken, and larger than life, made him a fixture in the media. Green's lifestyle matched his fortune. He owned a super yacht named Lionheart, spent summers on the French Riviera, and kept homes in Monaco and London. For years, he was the poster child of luxury living, showcasing a billionaire image that blended business power with unapologetic extravagance. But what makes him part of this old money narrative isn't just what he earned. It's how his wealth has been structured and passed within his family. His wife, Tina Green, based in Monaco, remains a key player in the management of their fortune, ensuring the Green Empire is preserved despite changing tides in retail. Of course, Green's story isn't without controversy. The collapse of BHS, a department store he once owned, sparked public outrage and raised questions about his legacy. Yet even in the face of scandal, his billions and his influence have remained intact. What's undeniable is that his wealth has moved beyond the fleeting highs of retail fashion. Through property, investments, and dynastic planning, Green has positioned his family as lasting members of Britain's billionaire class. For Sir Philip Green, fashion was the gateway, but legacy is the destination. His empire may have faced storms, but like true old money, his fortune is designed to endure far longer than the headlines that surround him. In the number 3 position, we have Hugh Grosvenor, the 7th Duke of Westminster, a man who proves that in Britain, true old money still rules. At just 25 years old, he inherited the Grosvenor fortune after the death of his father, instantly becoming one of the youngest billionaires in the world. But this wasn't money made overnight. The Grosvenor dynasty has been building its wealth for centuries, dating back to the 1600s, when the family began acquiring vast tracts of land in London. Those lands, Mayfair, Belgravia, and other exclusive districts, are today worth tens of billions of pounds, forming the backbone of the Grosvenor Group. Unlike entrepreneurs who have to fight for market share, Hugh's inheritance came with one of the most prestigious property portfolios on earth. The Grosvenor Group isn't just about land, it's about power. Their holdings span from luxury London addresses to developments in Europe, North America, and Asia. When someone rents or buys prime real estate in central London, there's a good chance the Duke's family profits. What sets Hugh apart is how he manages his fortune. Unlike some heirs who lean back and enjoy the wealth, he has taken an active role in continuing the family's legacy, balancing tradition with modern responsibility. Philanthropy plays a huge role, with millions donated annually through the Westminster Foundation to causes ranging from education to healthcare. His fortune, valued at more than £10 billion, is built on something deeper than money: land, legacy, and titles that tie him directly to Britain's aristocratic past. In him, we see the clearest example of old money, a fortune not created by business risk, but safeguarded across generations. Hugh Grosvenor isn't just a billionaire. He's a living symbol of how wealth, when tied to history and heritage, can transcend time itself. In the number 2 position, we have Sir Charles Dunstone, a man who transformed the way Britain connects and quietly cemented himself as one of the country's billionaire elites. Dunstone's journey began in the 1980s with a simple idea. Mobile phones were about to change the world. While most people still saw them as bulky toys for the rich, he spotted their potential for mass adoption. With just a desk, a small loan, and a relentless drive, he founded Carphone Warehouse. Within a decade, it grew into Europe's largest independent mobile phone retailer, making Dunstone a billionaire. But what makes his story fit into the old money narrative is not just the rise, but the transition. Dunstone didn't stop at phones. He diversified his wealth into broadband and telecom services with TalkTalk, then expanded further into real estate, luxury investments, and private equity. Today, his empire stretches far beyond the technology that made him rich, ensuring that his fortune isn't vulnerable to one industry's decline. Dunstone's lifestyle reflects the understated luxury of established wealth. He is a passionate yachtsman, owning some of the most prestigious sailing vessels, and he maintains sprawling estates across Britain. Yet unlike flashier billionaires, his public image is measured, almost quiet, a trait often associated with old money families who prefer influence over headlines. More importantly, Dunstone has positioned his wealth to endure. With trusts, investments, and careful planning, his empire is built to outlast him, creating the foundation of a true dynasty. In this way, he has shifted from the archetype of a daring entrepreneur to something more permanent, a custodian of wealth who will pass on not just assets, but a financial legacy. Sir Charles Dunstone shows us that old money isn't always born from inheritance. Sometimes it's created by vision, multiplied by smart planning, and preserved so well that it becomes part of Britain's financial aristocracy. In the number 1 position we have Sir James Ratcliffe, Britain's richest man and the embodiment of how modern fortune can evolve into lasting old money status. Born in a council house in Greater Manchester, Ratcliffe's rise is one of the most remarkable stories in British business. After studying chemical engineering and earning an MBA, he set out on a path that would lead him to create INEOS, one of the largest chemical companies in the world. Through bold acquisitions and a knack for turning underperforming businesses into profit powerhouses, Ratcliffe built a fortune now estimated at more than £30 billion. But wealth on this scale is never just about business. His passion for sports has also shaped his empire. from cycling teams to sailing, and most recently, a major stake in Manchester United, one of the most famous football clubs on earth. What sets Ratcliffe apart is his strategic vision for permanence. He's not chasing trends, he's building institutions. Ineos has expanded beyond chemicals into automotive, including the rugged Grenadier 4x4, a car designed to become a modern icon. His investments in renewable energy and sustainable projects show foresight, ensuring his empire will remain relevant in a changing world. For Ratcliffe, wealth is about endurance. He has carefully structured his empire to outlast him, with holdings, trusts, and enterprises designed for future generations. Though self-made, his fortune has matured into the kind of dynastic stability usually associated with aristocratic families. From humble beginnings to Britain's wealthiest billionaire, Sir James Ratcliffe proves that old money isn't always inherited. Sometimes it's created through grit, expanded with vision, and preserved so well that it becomes timeless.